Cam, thank you. The U.S. Surgeon General recently declared parental mental health an urgent public health issue. Here with me today to talk about how parents and caregivers can take care of themselves is Dr. Shyla Murgain. We always love when you're here. Thank you so much for being back.
It's great to be here.
So let's talk about this new advisory the Surgeon General put out. What was he highlighting in that report?
That parental mental health is a concern, and strikingly about a third of all parents are reporting high stress in the last month, and almost half are saying that their stress levels overall are so overwhelming they're having trouble functioning. And this has been concerning because if parental mental health is struggling, there's a trickle down into kids' mental health, and it really impacts our society at large.
I mean, half of parents, that's a crazy amount. What can parents do to lessen their stress and, really make sure that it's not affecting their mental health?
Well, first, parenting is work, and we should value it as much as a paid job. And we know that more time is being spent at paid work, and also just the tasks, the day-to-day tasks of parenting, not even related to taking care of your kids, but the time making appointments and making food prep and stuff like that. So really taking the time for some self-care, even an hour a week for parents, of getting extra sleep or going for a walk or hanging out with friends is really vital.
I know we've talked before when you've been on about how talking about the challenges you're facing can be helpful. How does that apply to parents and the stresses they face raising their kids?
There's such a culture of comparison. You just go online and everyone's posting their perfect picture memories, and it's not reality. And so instead of trying to live up to some unrealistic expectation that can cause a lot of pressure and feeling like you're perpetually behind and feeling a lot of shame of not being enough, I think it's so important to talk with somebody trusted about really the challenges. Parenting is hard. It's remarkable and rewarding, but it is hard. And so parents coming together and providing support and really keeping it real goes a long way to really validating your experience. Plus, maybe you can share some tips and strategies or books or resources. You're not born knowing how to parent, and there are a lot of resources, and parents can support one another in that way.
Yeah, so parents can support each other, but those of us who aren't parents in the community, we can also support our friends who are parents. What are some of the ways people can do that?
Yeah, it's really true that it takes a village to raise children. If you are a friend that doesn't have a child, reach out to a parent and maybe offer to babysit or take that person out to lunch or just check in saying, how are you doing? And communities can come together and maybe trade off with play dates or just taking a child into your home for an hour so that parent can maybe do some laundry. I know I've really valued from that, and it's made a huge difference. And even just a little bit can go a long way. Just letting a parent know, hey, I'm thinking about you. I heard about this on the news. How are you doing? How can I help? And then maybe doing something in return.
Yeah, I know at the top of this interview you mentioned sometimes, parent mental health can trickle down to kids' mental health. And if, that could be really scary for some parents to be hearing. It could be add another layer of stress. What can parents do to make sure that they're supporting their children as much as possible?
I think check in with your child. If you did have a bad day, you can always go and say, explain what happened, and then even apologize, and really connecting with that child. Kids really don't need more toys, they don't need more gifts, but they need your presence. So thinking about taking care of yourself, managing your own stress. So maybe when the child comes home, just sitting, being calm and hearing how they're doing, or check in when you're putting them down for bed, and just being that listening presence can go a long way. Kids can handle stress, but knowing that you're there steady, you're managing your own stress, they don't have to do it for you, is really critical for overall kids' well-being, that you're a solid, steady presence in their life. And you love them.
Yes, always very important. A lot of really good information today, Shyla. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.